Here is a boy who sets out on a trip to appreciate the beauty of nature. Where does he go? What does he see there? How does he feel? Let's find out. It was 11 o'clock and he knew his parents wouldn't return home till evening. There was a loaf of bread he could take with him, and on the way he might find some fruits. Here was the opportunity he had waited for. His mother and father had gone to visit relatives for the entire day and had left him on his own. If he came home before dark, before they returned, they wouldn't know where he'd been. Between the boy and the river stood a mountain. The boy was young and the river was small, but the mountain was big. The thickly forested mountain hid the river, but the boy knew it was there. He had never seen the river with his own eyes, but from the villagers he had heard of it, of the fish in its waters and of its rocks. He wished to touch the water and know it personally. He was about 12 years old, a sturdy boy with untidy black hair and shining black eyes. He had fine features and a clear brown skin, but his hands and feet were rough and scratched. He was barefooted, not because he couldn't afford shoes, but because he liked the feel of warm stones and cool grass. The boy passed a woodcutter. The woodcutter was a short but powerful man with a creased and weathered face and muscles that stood out in hard, ugly lumps.
How far is the river?
7 miles. What do you want to know?
I'm going to the river.
Alone?
Of course.
But it is too far. It will take you 3 hours to reach there. And then you have to come back. It will be getting dark. Besides, it is not an easy road.
But I am a good walker.
He had never walked further than the mile from his house to his school. The path was steep and the boy had to run most of the time. It was a dizzy, winding path and he slipped once or twice. He met a girl who was coming from the opposite direction. She had a long, curved knife with which she had been cutting grass. The bangle she wore made music.
far is the river?
20 miles.
The girl had obviously never been to the river, or she may have been thinking of another one. The parrots suddenly screeched, flew low over his head, a flash of red and green. A trickle of water came from the hillside, and the boy stopped to drink. The water was cold and sharp, but very refreshing. However, it seemed to have the effect of making him more thirsty. He had walked for over an hour. Presently, he saw another boy ahead of him driving a few goats down the path.
Hey, how far is the river?
Not far, just around the next hill and straight down.
I'm very hungry. What's your name?
John. And you?
I'm Jack.
Jack, why are you barefooted?
I like the feel of warm stones and cool grass.
Where are your parents?
They had gone to visit some of our relatives for the entire day and had left me alone.
Oh,
I have to come back before getting dark.
have you ever seen the river?
No, I haven't. But from the villagers, I have heard of it. Of the fish in its waters and of its rocks. By the way, John, there is nobody in the path.
This path was frequently used by villagers, woodcutters, milkmen, and mule drivers. But today there is nobody. Dear Jack, I have to go this way. You may go straight. Bye.
Bye.
He missed the village boy. He could not be seen. His own home was also hidden from view by the side of the mountain. The river was not in sight either. He began to feel discouraged. He was sorry he had finished the bread. He might want it later. He was determined to see the river. He walked on along the hot, dusty, stony path. And the dusty path became hotter, the stones scorching the boy's feet. He was sure he had gone halfway. There was no man or any sign of man's influence, only trees and rocks and bramble and flowers, only silence. The hill was covered with lush green ferns. The trees were wound in creepers. The silence was impressive and a little frightening. It was different from the silence of a room or street. It was the silence of space, of the unknown, the silence of God. As the boy rounded a sharp bend, the silence broke into sound. A sudden roaring sound, the sound of the river. Far down in the valley, the river tumbled over rocks. Was ankle deep in the painfully cold mountain water, and the water was blue and white and wonderful.